Hello everyone and welcome to ESO Weekly here on the Shoddycast channel. I am Kyle.
Oh wait. Oh, you're gonna introduce me.
I was totally gonna introduce you.
I'm so sorry I cut you off. That was my bad.
Yes. As I was saying, I am here with my intrusive brother, Josh.
Hello, I am intrusive brother Josh. How is everyone?
You guys doing good? Doing good? Awesome. So this week has been kind of a slow news week. I guess everyone's kind of getting over the whole E3 thing.
Yeah, we're all coming down off of our high here.
Yeah. But at least we did have this nice PvP article over at MMORPG. They had an interview with Brian Wheeler. I believe it was during E3. And they had quite a bit of useful nuggets of information here for PvP.
Yeah, I dare to say it was the single most informative interview that probably came out of E3, especially PvP-wise. So, junkies, listen up.
Yes, I'm just glad it wasn't more walkthroughs or playthroughs or walkthroughs of their playthroughs at E3, because those get so boring reading. So let's jump into it. First off, let's see. Well, first let's get this across, because I know a lot of people are blaming consoles for the game being pushed back.
Yes.
But in the beginning of this interview, Brian Wheeler wanted to confirm or just make sure everyone realized that it was pushed back because of the beta feedback they were receiving. They realized there was just way too much stuff that they had to finish and polish up, so they decided they would rather just push it back and disappoint a few fans instead of releasing an unfinished game and piss off a whole lot of fans. So
yeah, I would say disappointment might be too strong of a word for me. I was, I guess, bummed out that it was pushed back. But if it is for polish and completion, then yes, that's perfectly okay with me, you know? Then give me a more complete product at release, and I'll be more than happy with that.
Exactly. And he just wanted to reassure everyone that it was not because of the consoles. That's from his mouth. He said consoles was not the reason for the delay. It was just because they wanted to make sure the game was as polished and finished as possible. So let's get into the PvP stuff. So, as we talked before, people ask, how big is Cyrodiil? And they're saying it is roughly 9 times the size of a playable PvP or PvE zone. So, like one loading screen into a zone, say, I guess since people are talking about the Daggerfall area lately. So, let's say the one area in Daggerfall that you load into, it'll be 9 times or roughly 9 times the size of that area. So I know a lot of you, that doesn't mean a damn thing because they haven't played the game yet, but for those that have played beta or whatever, they'll have an idea of how big Cyrodiil is. In a word, huge.
Yep, that's what they're saying.
Ginormous.
Yes, I'm not so concerned. Size was never a thing for me. It was never an issue for me. But content, that's it. You could have hundreds of square miles of room and it could be just empty space. As long as that's filled to the utmost with forts and resource cap points and all sorts of miscellaneous quests, because we know there are going to be quests in Cyrodiil. As long as it's crammed full with content, then okay, make it huge.
Yup. So they also, Brian also said that it's 9 times the size, but also there's no loading screens once you're in Cyrodiil. Once you're in Cyrodiil, you've loaded it up. There's no transitional loading screens as you go from place to place within there. So you're approaching a keep. Don't expect some loading zone to just pop in there for a second or two. That's it. You're done. So that's good to know. Let's see, your map is going to be very interactive. When you pull that thing up, you'll see a lot of different things, such as you'll see keeps that are under attack, so you'll know where to go if one of your keeps are being under attacked, or if you want to help strengthen your offensive line, you can go and do that. You'll also see where transit lines are, whether that's where your cargo or whatever for your alliance is traveling to get from keep to keep. You'll see where those lines have been broken by the enemy. So you'll be able to go there and help defend that and get that fixed up. Also, a cool thing you'll see little battles, like little, I think he was saying like skulls or cross swords or something, where you'll see little battles going on. Not just at keeps, but like anywhere within Cyrodiil.
So contested areas. This basically is something that what I'm picturing is kind of a Planetside 2 sort of deal, where just by looking at the map, you can see where the hot zones are and where the conflict's going on. So if you want to just jump into the fray of things, you could go where there's conflict, or if you want to be the stealthy type that goes behind enemy lines, maybe look for a place that's a little less contested, all you rogue types out there.
Yeah. And he also said that it'll be color-coded, so you'll be able to tell which factions are involved in the battle, as well as roughly how many people are involved. Not sure how they'll show that, but that's basically what he was saying.
So, all the elf racists out there can go after, like, say you're on the Nord side of things and you hate the elves, you could just go after the Almeri Dominion exclusively.
Wherever you see gold on the map, go for that.
Yeah, kill those milk drinkers, for sure. We're coming for you, don't worry, we're ready. Wow. We're ready.
That's definitely really cool. I like having that interactive map thing going on. So, as we've said before, there's not just one Cyrodiil. There's actually several instances of Cyrodiil going on at once, and they're called campaigns.
Campaigns.
Yes, quote-unquote campaigns, with a capital C. They were saying that they're pushing for thousands of people to be in per campaign. So every campaign could have, like, 2,000-3,000 people, I'm not sure, but they're pushing for thousands.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, let's really define what a campaign is here, because what I drew from that interview is that a campaign is basically your version of Cyrodiil. So there's going to be multiple versions of Cyrodiil, and that is what a campaign is.
Pretty much.
So does that mean there's going to be multiple emperors? Because maybe in this Cyrodiil, the Almeri Dominion's winning, where in the other campaign, the Ebonheart Pact is winning.
Definitely what it sounds like to me, that every campaign is going to be having its own emperor and its own leaderboards and stuff.
Yeah, and I think this is a system that had to be in there, and I was actually happy to hear. At first I'm thinking, oh, well, why not just have it big enough to where everyone can be in the same campaign, so it's at least for consistency and stuff like that. You're not going to want that, because as far as queuing, and I've had this experience, the worst experience in Guild Wars 2, with a hour to 2 hour long queue when the game first launched. With these multiple campaigns, if there's too many people trying to queue into a campaign, they just add a new layer, right? And I'm assuming this is a system that's going to kind of work on its own. And because I don't want queue times, that's my thing. Because especially since this is the only outlet, at least for now until they announce more stuff, this is the only outlet for PvP. Where Guild Wars 2, if you couldn't get into, say, the world versus world, you could at least go into like small battlegrounds and matches like that.
Yes.
Where that's just not, we haven't had that announced for ESO. So it's going to be imperative that we don't have those queue times. We have short attention span, us gamers, very short attention spans.
Yeah, so let's just bring this up again to reaffirm this, that campaigns are going to be based, first off, pretty much how PvE is. It'll be based off like your guild, what guild you're in, and also the alliance your guild is in, like, because you can form alliances, so I've heard, with several guilds. So it'll put you in based on that, as well as your friends list and stuff like that. So you'll be around familiar people, at least if you know people and you're in a guild. And you'll see the same people around, like the same enemies and stuff, because you'll be paired with those same people because they're within your campaign. So you'll be seeing a lot of the same people. Now, you were talking about queues. When you do queue up to go into a campaign, you'll see several options if your campaign is full. So if your campaign is full, you can decide to wait and queue for that and wait for a space to come up. Or you can guest on another campaign, which lasts for 24 hours, they were saying. So you can actually have 2 active campaigns going on at once. And then they were saying if for some reason even your guest campaign was full, they'll throw you into some other campaign, I guess balance it out to where, okay, this campaign needs some more Daggerfall Covenant people. So if you're a Daggerfall Covenant, they'll put you in that campaign that needs you. So you'll get into Cyrodiil. Just whether or not it'll be your campaign depends on how many people are playing, obviously, in your campaign. So at least that's good that you aren't just stuck there with a 4-hour wait like we were when Guild Wars 2 launched and you couldn't get into world versus world to save your life. So that's good.
I still have nightmares about that.
Let's talk about the reward system. We know that Alliance points is basically the PvP currency that they're using, and you can use that for weapons, armor, siege weapons, and skill lines as well, because you have skills you can get solely through PvP that you spend Alliance points on. You get these, this reward system is based on how well you do during the run of the campaign. It's not so much based on how your entire Alliance is doing. So it's more based on how you personally are doing within your alliance in the campaign, which is kind of good because it puts more responsibility on yourself than just,
Right.
trying to, or for those lazy people that just sit there and AFK through.
Sure, no, and that's exactly the example I was going to bring up. Especially, this happened terribly, at least back in Vanilla WoW. I was doing PvP, Alliance and Horde. At the time, I was a little nooblet. I was on Alliance, and there'd be AFKers, people that just queue into like a big battle, like a Wrathy Basin or something, and will chill out. And obviously, there's timers in place that kick you out after a certain time, but people would find workarounds for that easily, And being judged just by personal merit, I think, is a much better system than as a faction as a whole. Because if there is, like, say this happens, your faction is just sucking as of late and isn't winning that much, and that's definitely what happened in a lot of games, especially games that only have 2 alliances, and then what are you gonna do? Re-roll a character? No. I like this approach definitely a lot more, and I hope it pans out.
Even if your alliance sucks and it never wins, you'll still gain rewards because of how you're doing, not how your alliance is doing. There also, Brian also said that there is a minimum amount of alliance points you need in order to gain rewards. So again, you can't just jump into a campaign and expect rewards because your alliance was doing well.
Yeah.
You have to do the work. You have to, kill people, I guess.
Hey, Kyle, we're about to win. Hop into this game.
Yeah,
boom,
none of that.
1,000 alliance points awarded to you, sir, for
none
being
of
a
that
cheater.
Stuff. There are leaderboards. We've talked about this before. They are updated constantly, and they will show how you're doing within your alliance as a whole, how you're doing within the entire campaign. So within all the alliances, you'll see how you're doing. You'll even see how well you're doing compared to other people that play your class.
Now, I have to say, I don't agree with this at all. And I really hate this tool because it's going to show me how bad I suck. And I don't want to see how bad I suck. Just do away with it, Zenimax. You heard it here.
Why not? You don't want to see how crappy?
I'm just not good. At least, especially not to start in PvP. There's some people who are just naturally gifted with it. And I always just...
You're more of a casual PvPer. You're not a competitive.
Well, I do it more for the fun of it than I've never been a min-maxer. I steer away mostly from the online resources and stuff like that. I'm there just to goof off with my friends and stuff. And I don't need a scoreboard to tell me how bad I suck. I know I suck. It's okay.
True enough. Now, Cyrodiil is not just like an AVA thing. It's not just people killing people the entire time. There's also world PvP. And by that I mean there are things you can do that are like more PvE oriented, like finishing quests or doing those dynamic Dark Anchor events that happen in Cyrodiil. There's also public dungeons you can enter and kill mobs and get loots and open chests and collect herbs and all this other stuff you can do in Cyrodiil, while always having that feeling that there is an enemy faction person right behind you, stealthing, trying to come up on your ass and kill you.
Yes. So you can almost look at Cyrodiil as that PvP server. Since we don't have servers, it's just a big mega server. If you're the type of person that like to play on a PvP server, the type of person that likes the rush of not knowing if some guy's sneaking up behind him to slit his throat, that could be your avenue for that. And what I think is cool about the whole Dark Anchors available in Cyrodiil is the fact that we could have a scenario where, say, all 3 factions are fighting over a keep, and a Dark Anchor could drop right in the middle of them, and then what happens at that point? Do we all team up? Do the mortal races get together and try to stem the tide of battle against Molag Bal to drive him back to his realm of Cold Harbor? Or do we continue to murder and slaughter each other as Molag Bal is, dominating?
I'm pretty sure it's going to be a mix of both. You'll have the people that are, there to try to get rid of this Dark Anchor, and then immediately you'll have like 15 people backstabbing you. Just because the opportunity was there.
Come on, us mortals, we gotta stick together, at least when it comes to that, because we're gonna get our butts whooped.
Yep. Now, it is confirmed that you cannot loot dead bodies or dead player bodies. So if you kill someone, don't expect to get any kind of loot, not even gold or anything off of their bodies. You'll only gain alliance points.
See, and I didn't even want to get their stuff for the fact of, oh, this is a cool sword, this is a cool item. I wanted to take off their clothes because it was degrading to them, just take all their crap. But yeah, no, we're just getting straight up alliance points. And I have to say, I I do like this and I don't like it. The part of me that doesn't like it is the RPGer that, I liked tearing the clothes off of things, and wow, that sounded wrong, in the past test games. But in this case, where there's hundreds of people, but possibly hundreds at a time on screen, people are dying left and right.
Yeah.
I would like to be rewarded without having to take the time to stop and pick up things and just continue on my way in the heat of battle.
To me, it would be a total distraction.
Yeah.
I mean, you'll have people stopping to loot, and you're like, what are you doing? We're trying to take out this damn wall, and you're sitting there looting bodies.
Looting the battlefield. We would have like vultures and stuff.
Just picking bodies.
Just picking bodies, following the horde, you know?
Oh, you bastards.
That actually sounds cool.
Okay, so let's get into the cool thing that he mentioned towards the end of this video, and that was first-person view having like an actual purpose in PvP.
Yes, I was super surprised, and as a staunch advocate of, first person, I was excited to hear this, because in the interview, I mean, we were both just watching it together before we started recording this, and the moment the interviewer asked, is first person or third person going to be useful in PvP? And I'm like, no brainer, right?
Third person.
Third person.
Yeah.
But no. What was his example he gave?
His example was like, okay, you're sitting on top of a keep, you're in third person shooting people, from the wall and everything, but then they start getting to the gate and you can't like see them. They're, under you. There's little like grates or whatever, little holes you can see through. But because of third person, the way it is, the camera will kind of get in the way. You won't be able to see. So you're able to switch into first person view, and now you can actually see straight through the hole, and you can now easily shoot people down below you.
Gosh, the archers just wet themselves. That's all I know, because that sounds like their fantasy. That's something I would like to do, sit up on the walls, shooting people down below, counting as I'm doing it, Gimli next to me, that still only counts as one. That whole fantasy, that's going to be cool. And the whole great thing is, I think, interesting, because it keeps, and I hope they utilize this, and this is something I get a ton in like RTSs, like Stronghold 2, which is one of my favorite RTSs of all time, where the keeps themselves actually they can actually be utilized well in PvP scenarios. When you're defending your keep, you could shoot through slots and stuff like that. You could pour like oil or tip over logs onto people down below. Like that sort of thing sounds great. I want a Blackwater type battle where I'm hurling rocks and people's heads are imploding below me. Something like that, would be neat.
And guess what? At least part of that is confirmed. They do have like burning oil you can pour on people down below and stuff like that. So I'm sure that'll be based again on the resources you have around the keep. If you have any of those still, that'll strengthen your defenses of the keep.
I could definitely see that.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
I still feel though that the majority of battles in PvP will not be within the keeps themselves, but outside in the resources. Because that is huge.
Yes.
You keep your resources, you'll have more soldiers, like more NPC soldiers defending your keeps. You'll have all this defensive things like regenerating walls and doors and stuff when you have like mines and lumber mills still with your keep. You still own those things. So I think you'll be seeing a lot of the fights going on within the actual resources for the keep, not the keep itself.
Yeah, so you people with the archer fantasies wanting just to chill out on the wall the whole time, it sounds like you might not want to do that. At least to start with, you're going to want to defend your resources, because we've agreed, and all the sources say that the keep is kind of, it's the Alamo, it's your last line of defense.
Yes, exactly. And that was pretty much it for that video. I wish there was more news for this week, but really it's been pretty dry.
Yeah, pretty dry news week. Coming off of V3, it's only natural. But can I just emphasize how brutally important it is? And I think not too many people, at least, I'm sure people realize it, but at least it's not said that often. PvP is really going to be the make or break for this game's longevity, because, and correct me if I'm wrong and let me know what you think, but it seems that Zenimax Online Studios, at least from my perspective, is kind of like all in on this PvP thing. They're putting all their chips there as far as endgame goes, especially endgame.
I'd say it's a split between the PvP and Cyrodiil and adventure zones, and where they go with these adventure zones, because that seems to be where the raiding type stuff is going to be, and where a lot of the endgame content is going to be in those adventure zones. Because there's only 16 dungeons in the game, they've said, and also like master versions of each of those. So there's really not a huge amount of dungeons just based on the actual size of Tamriel itself and how big this game is. So definitely PvP and adventure zones are going to be the make or break for this game.
Yeah, and I definitely hope, and this is coming from a guy that is probably exclusively going to do PvP endgame, because I never really got too much into the PvE side of endgame. They got to throw the PvEers more of a bone with, and I know they're saying adventure zones, and that could be a cool concept, but we're not getting any news on that, and I don't know if they want to just be secretive about that until they like release some awesome trailer for it or something like that, which totally could be the case, especially with this game being pushed back to 2014 now.
There's finally a developer question of the week.
Yes.
It's been like 2 weeks.
They've neglected us for 2 weeks.
Hi, I'm Will Brawl, a senior web developer at Zenimax Online Studios. Immersing you completely in Tamriel is something we strive for at The Elder Scrolls Online. What gets you immersed into a game world?
So Josh, what gets you immersed in the world of Tamriel?
Well, I could say first person, but I'm not. I think that's been a tired argument at this point.
That is the most miraculous answer I've ever heard in my entire life.
Isn't it
I never
so
would have
original?
thought of that.
Yes, originality. That's what we go for here on the Shoddycast. No, I'll change my answer up here and say that choices really add to my immersion, and especially in the Elder Scrolls games. Let's be honest here. The Elder Scrolls as a series, although the lore is good, the history and backstory are spot on, the stories haven't always been the best stories. I would beg to differ that games like BioShock and Mass Effect, which is an RPG a lot better to compare to, has better stories within it. Much better character development. Really, you lack a lot with character in the Elder Scrolls as compared to other games, in my opinion. But choices have really been what set it apart for me from most other games, because it is really one of the few games out there where you could have virtually any choice. Even in RPGs like Mass Effect, you have choices in those games, but you don't have the biggest choice of all, which is, if I don't like this person, I can just kill them. Like, that's something you get a lot more in the test games. We're getting it a little less as of late, since, you know, they have important marked NPCs now as opposed to the older test games, but choice. Long story short,
Wow.
Choice.
Okay. For me, it has to do with the visual and the auditory senses.
Okay.
So I want to have like deep, rich music going on, sound effects, and I want the graphics to be beautiful and realistic. At least in this game. There's other games I don't really care, WildStar, but there's other games I really don't care about the graphics. But for this being a test game, it's just something I expect. I expect it to look good based on, you know, the technology at hand, and that for me is what does it.
Yeah, I can totally agree with that, and definitely could relate. Have you installed the add-on? It's like ambient sounds of Skyrim.
Yes.
Where if you're actually sneaking through, say, a Draugr-infested cave, you actually hear Draugr echoing out in the distance.
And you hear like bugs in the walls.
Yeah, and spooky sounds. Like, guys, you got a game with a headset, because it just adds so much to the immersion of it all, and definitely sound is a very important sense.
Yeah,
when it comes to these games.
Totally plugging some add-ons. So that was Sounds of Tamriel, right?
Sounds of Skyrim.
Climates of Tamriel? Was that what that
There's
one was?
Sounds of Skyrim. That's the one I have, where it has the ambient. It adds to the ambient sounds.
Okay. I think there was a few versions of that though. There was one for like towns, there was one for dungeons, and one for just the environment as a whole nature sound.
Yes, I think I got the whole bundle package on Steam Workshop. Has like a master package of it all. So.
Yeah. So that, and then there was that other one that I had installed, and you saw that was that saturation boosting mod. Oh my god. Okay. So Skyrim, we all know, is kind of washed out. I know we're going way off topic here, but get that mod for Skyrim if you have the PC version, the saturation boosting one, because it just makes the game look so much more beautiful.
No, I think this is actually a very good topic to bring up, because Oblivion, we saw a lot more saturation in our colors. Skyrim, as you said, are more washed out. Elder Scrolls Online, from what the footage I see so far, is more saturated than, say, a Skyrim. Now there's definitely different opinions out there, and I don't know if you've seen this, but I actually have friends personally that actually like the washed out feel. They say it makes it more real and gritty, like that's how it would look in real life. Like trees really wouldn't be that green, or your bark wouldn't be that brown. But then at the same time, there's people like me that are like, well, it's not supposed to be like real life. It's supposed to be kind of, more fantastical.
The one that wants everything to be realistic and everything?
No, well, no, I want it, listen, this is great. I want it to be realistic, but at the same time, it's got to be better than reality. That's why I play my games. If games were exactly like reality, I'd live my life.
I'm hoping, though, at least there's some kind of differences between the zones. So if you do visit Skyrim, then it's going to be a little bit more washed out. You'll have snow because there is atmospheric effects like weather. And you had the night and day cycle, as of course. So I'm hoping that as you go from zone to zone, you'll see these different atmospheric things, like more washed out, muted colors, and then more vibrant colors, and wherever you're in a more richly lit environment. So yeah, I hope there are differences as you go from zone to zone.
Like if Valenwood should not have the same color palette as a place like Skyrim.
Exactly. Okay.
So moving on
Shall we go
our questions, right?
Yes,
our audio
community
questions.
segment. So let's answer some questions from the audience. First one is from Ashwin Sarkar.
Hey Shoddy, just asking, do you think food will be more important in Elder Scrolls Online than it was in Skyrim? Because in Skyrim, you'd have food which gave you like 10 stamina or 10 health, and it was pretty much useless. You wouldn't be using it in a tight pinch. So yeah, do you think it'd be more important in Elder Scrolls Online? Thanks.
Will food have more effect in ESO than will in like Skyrim? Because Skyrim, you ate and you got like a point of health. It was useless. But the provisioner and everything in ESO will actually have some added benefits, as with other MMOs. Eating gives you buffs, and they're going to do the same thing in ESO. Hopefully they'll take it a little bit further, since they've made it a whole profession and everything. Again, the provisioner. So hopefully we'll see some buffs that you can only get through cooking. So it gives it that extra boost.
Yeah, because the thing about like Skyrim cooking and stuff, like comparing cooking to alchemy in Skyrim was like night and day, because cooking, you could make anything as long as you had the ingredients. Alchemy actually had progression. Your potions got stronger. You had a skill line dedicated to it and stuff like that. What we're seeing in the Elder Scrolls Online is it's more on equal ground with things like alchemy and stuff. So hopefully, yes, our answer is yes. It's going to be just as useful as a powerful crafting skill like alchemy.
All right. Next one is from Isaac Lyons.
Hey, Shoddycast. From what I understand, Cyrodiil is essentially going to be Elder Scrolls Planetside 2. Is that accurate? And if it is, will it be like Planetside 2, where if I capture some bases and I come back a couple days later, all of that will be gone, and my team will have different bases in different areas, and everything is just switched around? Will it be like that in Cyrodiil and Elder Scrolls Online?
Planetside 2's on the mind today, huh?
Yeah, well, this question kind of matches this video rather well.
Sure, worked out good.
And, well, it seems the answer is kind of yes. It is kind of be like Planetside in the sense that keeps are going to be switching hands constantly. At least hopefully they will. Unless there's like an extremely dominant alliance that's just taking everything. But it does seem like things can change constantly, and you could return a few days later and see that your alliance was doing amazingly well when you left, but you came back and now you're in last place. So things are hopefully going to be fluctuating all the time. And the other thing I forgot to mention actually in the video, he was saying like once the campaign is over, it won't just reset everything and all the keeps are like to zero. It doesn't seem to be working like that. Apparently the keeps will stay the way they were, like stay with that alliance that kept
right?
it. Yeah, it's persistent through the campaign. So I'm not sure how they're going to do that with all balancing. Maybe it will have to do with the alliance rewards that go out. So maybe the losing alliance will get better buffs or something. I don't know. That'll at least help it a little bit along to, help balance things out a little bit. I'm not sure. But, yeah, that's a little negative info there. And I guess that's going to be it for that. So shall we go into our sponsors for the week?
Yes, we are ahead of schedule. Look at the time.
Yes. First one is from Dean Valentine. Thank you, sir. He wanted to mention his Ebonheart Pact Guild. You must apply. There are a low selection chance, so not everyone's going to get in. They are focused on strategy and would rather have a good player than two mediocre ones. And their website, God, I'm sorry, I'm going to totally mispronounce this, but you'll have it up on the screen, correct?
Sure.
Tharmdikilnsea.
Right on, dude.
.engine.com.
I think
That's
you
as good as I can do, I'm sorry.
Nailed it.
So thank you for that. Next one is from Timothy Ellis. Thank you, sir. You have been very thoughtful in helping us out.
Thoughtful with your wallet. Thank you.
Martin Horchner. Hopefully I said that correctly. Thank you, sir. Eric McClure. Eric McClure. He sounds like he's like some kind of a like villain in a movie.
McClure. Bond villain, yeah.
Richard Jordan, again, thank you, sir. Another donation. Also wants to, again, mention his Ebonheart Pact Guild. It's only for PC, and the website is obsidianbrotherhood.com. So go ahead and check that out if you're with those, Nord bastards and playing the PC.
Oh, and you know what else?
What's that?
Dragonborn!
Of course. Oh, I wanted to mention Mr. Richard Jordan. Please email us back. We sent you an email about a certain something. Yeah, so if you're out there listening, make sure you respond to our
proposition?
Email.
Wait, no, that sounds bad. It's just an email. Just check it.
Yeah. Sterling Jennings is back once again. Hello, we've missed you.
Yeah, where you been, boy? It's been a while. It's so funny too when he stopped donating. People actually in the YouTube comments and on Twitter were like, "Where's Sterling Jennings? Blasphemy!"
And he wanted to announce his support for the Shoddycast Guild. So he'll be in there for sure.
Oh, huzzah, my good sir. And may I just say, Magnus, for you.
I like that one better than Dragonborn. Next one is from Alexander Hogue, and he is, his character name is Jadago, I'm going to assume.
Sounds like a Khajiit, maybe?
And wishes Khajiiti to join...
Yes!
Vakajkar Caravan. I'm assuming that's his guild?
Oh, cool. I like how it's a
RPing
caravan.
guild?
That's cool. Did you know that the Khajiit travel with the caravan? God, you sold us. Shut up.
Wow.
We know.
And he is trading in the finest sugar among other goods, and headquarters are going to be established among the keeps of Cyrodiil.
Ooh.
So I guess he's going to be doing a lot of PvP and stuff.
So yeah, either join him or, he can be your dealer. Get in contact with this guy.
I hope he means some moon sugar when he's talking about
I sure hope so. It's code.
Another donation once again from our friend Jeff Truscott. I believe he was our Scottish friend.
Geoff.
Hello. Can you play some bagpipes or something? Never mind, I'm not going to do that.
I'm totally doing it. I'm totally doing it. Done.
And then a donation from Michael Patterson, and he wanted to mention Sons of Sithis, and he says, "We are the sons and daughters of Sithis. We are an Ebonheart Pact Guild that seeks to unite..."
Wait, you have to read this like Lucien LeChance. I know it's a hard voice to
then
do.
You got to do it.
Just sound a little more menacing and we are the sons.
We are the Ebonheart Pact. I don't know. We are the Ebonheart Pact that seeks...
the sons and daughters of Sithis. We are an Ebonheart Pact Guild that seeks to unite all characters who follow the Dread Father to protect the Brotherhood homeland. People can find us on Tessov.com. This is possibly the worst Lucien LeChance impersonation ever, but that's okay.
Wow.
And that's that.
And that is that. That
Yes.
is all these sponsors for the week. If you would like to become a sponsor of the week and have that horrible LeChance thing going on, you can go to our website over at Shoddycast.com and you will see a donation button underneath the polls. And also we'd like to mention our $10 promotion. So, donate a minimum of $10 and like we said, you can
Pluggity plug.
Yeah, pluggity plug.
Shout out.
your
You
guild
can
and
do
stuff.
shout outs too. That was a lot of the podcasts I listened to back in my WoW days did like shout outs for people and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've got to mention though, if you wanted to send in an audio question, it's askshoddy@gmail.com.
Excellent.
Would you like to close this out?
Yes, I suppose I will. Ladies and gentlemen, you have been listening to the Shoddycast. Thank you so much for taking the time today to tune in with us. It's the biggest compliment you could pay us. Oh, another compliment would be to like and share this video with everyone you know. Tune in tomorrow for the next installment of the Elder Scrolls Law series. We are going to be talking about the Dome. The Dome. You have to say it like Dome, like Parthenax would. All right, tune in for that. Don't miss it. It's going to be a lot of fun. All right.
Epic.
I have been Josh.
And I have been Kyle.
We'll catch you later.
Bye.